Hello, and welcome to A Head Full of Tales. Now today's story is called Snow White and Rose Red. Now, there was once a widow who lived in a little cottage, and in her garden she had two beautiful rose bushes. One, that produced the most beautiful red rose, and the other, that produced a beautifully snowy white rose. Gorgeous roses they were. Now, the widow had two children, daughters in fact, and she had named them after the roses, Rose Red and Snow White. And lovely children they were too. Snow White was quite a quiet child, and she liked reading and cooking and just being quiet round the house. And Rose Red, she was fun. She used to run around and play and skip and jump. She loved being outside all the time. And Snow White and Rose Red were very loving to their mother. Snow White, she loved the winter months, and she would make sure that the fire was always crackling, and that the cooking pot where they sort of cooked their meals, and the kettle, the copper kettle, were all shiny. So shiny you could see your face in the reflection. So shiny that the kettle looked like gold. And Rose Red, when the summer came, she would go out and collect flowers, and she'd bring them back to her mum and really look after her, they did. Now, the two children often went into the woods, and they would collect herbs and berries, because they were good country people, and they knew how flowers were supposed to be used and how different herbs helped for colds and sneezes and snuffles. So they would go into the woods, and the animals would come because they get to know them. They knew them so well. Birds would sing on their shoulder. They could feed deer by hand. Even the badger wouldn't be too scared of them. And hedgehogs would crawl round their feet to say hello. Now, they were safe in the forest because all the wild animals looked after them. So, when they were there, their mother never really worried about them. And sometimes they had to sleep in the forest because they had gone too deep into it. Now, on one particular night, they were sleeping by a tree because were completely lost, and it was pitch black. So they both laid down, Snow White and Rose Red, and fell asleep. When they woke up in the morning, there was a girl standing next to them, smiling. "Hello," said Snow White. "Hello," said Snow Red. "Hello," said the little girl, and then she vanished into thin air. And when the girls looked at the tree they were laying on, the tree was on the edge of a cliff. And if they had rolled over any time in that night, they would have gone down that cliff. When they told their mother said, "Well, you must have a guardian angel looking after you two," which made them feel a little bit better. Now, many winters came and summers went. And one winter, they were by the fire and they were reading, and somebody was sewing and somebody was spinning yarn. And the lamb had come in to sort of nestle by the fire, and there was a dove up in the eaves, and they were eating jam and toast when there was a knock on the door. Knock, 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 knock. "Oh," said the mother. "Yes, it must be his traveller who must be lost. We should let him in and get him warm." So Snow White, she went to the door and opened it. But there was no man standing there. There was a bear. Roar. And Snow White, she ran and jumped behind the settee. And Rose Red, she just shivered and she ran. And the dove, he flew up into the eaves. And the sheep, he sort of ran around trying to get away from the bear. "Don't be afraid," said the bear. "I'm just cold, and in this winter I want somewhere to stay." "Oh, you poor thing," said the mother. "In you come, and that's it. You lay down by the fire." And she gave him a big bowl of soup and honey and bread. "Oh, this is delicious." And then Snow White and Rose Red realised the bear wasn't that scary at all. "Oh, all this snow on my back," said the bear. And with that, they got brooms and brushes and swept the bear clean. The bear seemed very gentle and kind. And that night, the mother said he could stay because she didn't want him to go out into that cold weather. And so he did. Come morning, Mother shooed him out, and the girls shooed him out as well. "Go on, bear, go on." But that night, the bear came back, and then he would sit by the fire all curled up, and they got so used to him that they would sort of play on him. They would sort of lie on his back, pat his hair, give him ponytails. And the bear would grumble every now and again because the girls got a bit rough. But they did love the bear. It was like having a big dog as a pet. So this went on for many, many nights until the winter thawed away and spring was there. And so on that day, the bear said his last goodbye. "Goodbye, children," said the bear. "I've had so much fun staying here, but I need to go back and guard my treasure." "Treasure?" said Snow White and Rose Red. "Yes, gnomes, you see. They keep pinching my treasure," said the bear. "It's all right in the winter, because their caves are all frozen and they can't get out. But in the summer, they keep pinching all my treasure." And as the bear walked through the door, out through the door for the last time, a little bit of his fur got caught on the handle. Snow White was sure she saw a little bit of gold in the fur. But no, it can't be. And she took the fur and she put it in her pocket because she loved the bear. It was her favourite animal in the whole world. Anyway, the bear went, and that summer, they didn't see him at all. When the two girls were out collecting more berries, they were just sort of strolling out into the wood when they heard this, "Oh, fie, 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 oh, this is annoying, oh, so annoying, help, help." The two girls didn't know where the noise was coming from. So they followed the sound, and suddenly they saw a little man, a gnome, with his beard caught into the log. "What are you children standing at, looking at me, gawping at me? Can't you help? I'm stuck." "How did it happen?" "Well, I was chopping firewood, wasn't I? And then I chopped it, and then my beard got caught in a splinter and I can't get it out." "Well, I'll go and get help," said Snow White. No, can't you do it, you stupid girls?" Well, said Rose Red, "we might be able to help. Snow White, have you got your scissors on you?" "Oh, yes, what a wonderful idea," said Snow White. And she snipped the bottom of the gnome's beard off. "Ow! What have you done to my beard?" he said, holding it up. "Look, you've chopped off the tip. Oh, you horrible children. I hope you have a really unlucky day." And off went the little gnome. The girls laughed. What a silly little man. But with him, they saw as he went off into the distance, he was carrying a bag. Quite a heavy bag, they thought. Well, the next day, they were sort of out going to the river to do some washing, when all of a sudden, in the distance, they saw something that was dancing around, hopping and bouncing around like a crazy cricket, but much, much bigger. And when they got closer, again, there was the little man with a fishing rod. Oh, come here. Oh, I'm being dragged into the water. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. The poor little gnome had his beard wrapped around the line, and it was being poured into the river by a ginormous fish. And he would surely drown if the girls didn't help him. The girls grabbed him and they pulled him back. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Pull tighter. But the fish was so strong. So again, Snow White got a pair of scissors and snip! What have you done to my beard now? I'm going to be the laughing stock of this place, I am. Oh, yes, I will. And he cursed the girls. Oh, I hope your shoes are so hot you keep dancing and never stop. And he grabbed a bag of jewels and then he went off into the distance. The girls were shocked. He's not a very happy fellow, is he? said Snow White. No, said Rose Red. In fact, he's quite mean. Well, the next day, their mother sent them to get some sewing from the town, some needles and thread and all that sort of thing. And off they went. When halfway down the path to where the town was, they saw something fighting. Get away from me! Get away! And a great big eagle up in the sky kept swooping down. And all of a sudden, it grabbed the gnome and was pulling him up into the air. The girls ran to him quickly and grabbed hold of the back of his coat. And they kept pulling and tugging. And the eagle flew high and the gnome kept coming down as they would pull the back of his coat. And suddenly, pull! They pulled him free from the eagle. And the eagle flew off. Oh, what have you done to my coat? Said the gnome. Oh, I hate you stupid children. You chopped off my beard so it's really short. You ruined my clothes. You're horrible. And he grabbed a bag of precious stones and off he rushed. Oh, charming, thought the girls. Now a few weeks passed, but then one day they were out in the field and they heard this 1, oh, look at this, 2, 3, oh, gold pieces, silvery stones, I'm such a happy gnome. And when they got closer and they looked through the reeds, there was the little man with bags of gold, bags of diamonds, bags of precious stones. Oh, that stupid bear! Fancy falling asleep while the gold was there. Oh, this was the gnome that was pinching the bear's gold. Suddenly, there was a roar. I smell you, Gnomey. And the bear came running down through the fields, right by the river into the reeds where the gnome was. And he put his head through the reeds, and the little gnome shouted, "Ah!" And then he saw the girls. Oh, don't eat me. I'm just a small little gnome. Why don't you eat the girls? They look much fatter than me. Yes, they'll be really tasty. And I will give you all this gold. But don't eat me. Eat the girls. Eat the girls. Yeah, go and eat the girls. Roar, said the bear. I don't want the girls, but the girls have already run away, seeing such a scary bear. And the bear put his big paw and was about to squash the gnome with it, when the gnome was so frightened, he stood still and became as solid as rock and turned into solid stone. Girls, said the bear, come back, it's me. And Snow White and Rose Red stopped, and they turned around, and it was the bear that had been with them in the forest, the one that they'd been looking after all winter. And when they came close to the bear stood up to his full height and said, "Thank you." And as he bowed, all the fur fell from him, and there stood a handsome prince. "Hello." "Oh," said Snow White, quite shocked. Who are you?" "I'm a prince, and I live with the king, and this gnome turned me into a bear and kept stealing all my gold." So the only way to break the curse was to either kill him or scare him stiff. And I think I've scared him stiff. Look, he's a stone gnome. Oh, said the little girl. Well, maybe I should look after him. Yes, maybe you should. And now, if you go to Snow White's or Snow's Red's garden, you'll always see a gnome standing there guarding the roses.